All right, welcome to the SnydeReport. I am your host today. Well, I guess it's every day, Gary Snyder. My guest today is the one, the only Bill Levin. Bill, welcome to the SnydeReport.
Hi, I love you, and thank you for having me on. You look fabulous today.
Well, I just got a haircut, so you see the bright, shiny thing off my forehead now.
I love you.
But, well, we don't get to talk very often, but I wanted to bring you on today because we've just passed the 10-year anniversary of the Church of the Cannabis. Just take a few minutes and tell me how that ride's been so far.
10 years ago, we kicked off the First Church of Cannabis, and it was the only place in the state where you can openly, freely, and happily talk about the cannabis plant. Back then, if you brought up the word, 10 years ago, if you brought up the word cannabis in a room, you would be chased out. You know, oh, don't talk about that. You know, it's illegal in Indiana, blah, 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 blah. We were the only safe haven to talk about it, and we would bring it to a point. Since then, here we are 10 years later, and every gas station in town flies a Delta 9, Delta 8, and a big leaf on banner flags outside their gas stations. And who knew when we were growing up that our local gas station was going to be our local head shop, too?
You know, and you're not lying because, you know, anyone that I walk in, it's right there. I mean, the flag's flying, the little wavy men out front. I mean, it's prevalent everywhere except, well, I guess everywhere.
Cannabis is 99% legal in the state of Indiana. The only thing we are fighting about is Delta 9 THC medical. Everything else is legal.
What's the difference there?
The difference is our state is trying to be a nanny state, and there's only less than 20% of our people are against cannabis. 80% want it. But everybody keeps saying, well, Lilly doesn't want it, so we don't get it. Lilly's not even in the mix. Take a look at who owns the Indiana GOP. You know who owns that company?
I do, but why don't you tell us?
You ever heard of a company called Citizens United?
Exactly.
Okay.
I have, actually.
Okay. The same man who owns Citizens United owns the Indiana Republican Party. He is against cannabis. He is the most powerful man in the state. Nobody talks about. When he walks in a room, governors, senators, and everybody shit their pants a little bit because he's the most powerful man. Who's the man behind the scenes pulling the strings? James Bopp.
Well, he's now, if you go to IU, he's now making rules down there too.
When you control the state republic, you control the state of Indiana. They are controlled by James Bopp, the silent hand. He does not want cannabis legal.
When you look back, when you started Church of the Cannabis 10 years ago,
yeah,
you did it, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, because I have been a few times in my life. You started it as I don't know, was it just to protest RFRA, or did you see an opportunity there because of RFRA?
I saw an opportunity because of RFRA. You got to realize it was in 2010, or maybe even before that I got my minister's license. Mm-hmm. Okay, I got my mail order minister license. People wanted me to marry them. I was running around doing hi, I love in the tattoo industry, and somebody said, hey, man, marry. So I got my license way before the church was even conceived. Abdul got a hold of me while the RFRA thing was going on and said, hey, Bill, here's an idea. And I went into we'll call it a meditative state of trying to figure out, hey, Bill, here we are. You have a minister's license. If you were to start a church, how would you do it? What would you do? And, you know, after meeting ministers who have robbed their church blind, the first thing I decided on was whoever runs the church must take a vow of poverty. Okay? The grossest thing I saw while we shopped for churches were ministers who bankrupt their churches on grossly large salaries, enough to afford 2-carat or 3-carat diamond rings and the newest car out there. Oh, well, we used to have 750 people, but we only have 75 now. Well, he didn't take a pay and cut. You know, he's still getting that $250,000 a year out of
Right.
those 75 people. And the buildings have fallen apart. We ended up buying a building 10 years ago, but the shopping of the church was probably one of the most insightful things I saw. The greed, the horrific selfish, and I wanted nothing to do with I've lived devout poverty ever since I've opened that church. We follow the Deity Dozen, 12 steps to a better life, you know. And first suggestion is don't be an asshole. Treat everyone with love as an equal.
That could really, people should pay attention to that today, especially people in government with pastor before their name.
And that's where I like to focus the drive of our church. We go out and we serve our friends on the street every week to absolutely some of the most loving people I have ever met in my life. Some of the people I trust more than I do my friends in Hamilton County.
Hey, Bill, can you hold through a break real quick?
Absolutely. I'm going to light my cigarette.
You're listening to the SnydeReport. I'm Gary Snyder. All right, this is the part of the SnydeReport where we thank our sponsors, and we have a growing list. So let's start with Robin Winston. Robin has been there when we first sent out our first email, 147 subscribers. We're now over 108,000. So thank you, Robin Winston, and helping us get the podcast going in the right direction. Next up is our good friend, former Congresswoman Jill Long Thompson. Her book, Across the Aisle, Why Bipartisanship Works for America. Get that anywhere you buy your books. Also, former two-term governor, two-term U.S. Senator Evan Bayh. Evan has been a sponsor of the newsletter, now jumps on board with the podcast. Congressman Andre Carson. Congressman Carson has been there from the start. We're glad to have him over here on the newsletter now. He needs your help to win re-election next year. So make sure you support Congressman Carson. Next up, State Representative Cherish Pryor. Cherish has been there from the start on the newsletter, joining us on the podcast now. So is State Senator Greg Taylor. I want to thank Senator Taylor for all of his support through the years. Next, we have a couple of new sponsors. First up is Indiana Citizen. You want to check out their new project, One Heartbeat Away. Do Christian nationalists have an agenda for Indiana? You know, all you have to do is look at the lieutenant governorship and you can see right away that they do. So thank you, Indiana Citizen. Next up is Jump Laundry. You can visit them at jumplaundry.com. They have home pickup. They do your dry cleaning, wash and fold with, I might add, no judgments, and next day service. So if you're in a crunch for time, you don't want to do your own laundry, get a hold of Jump Laundry at jumplaundry.com or at 317-740-5011. And they will take care of all of your laundry needs. Welcome back to the SnydeReport. I am your host, Gary Snyder. We are speaking today with the Church of the Cannabis founder, Bill Levin. Bill, when you take a look back when RFRA first started, you got a lot of local notoriety that built to a lot of national notoriety. How has that notoriety helped? How has it hurt? And how do you keep up keeping the Church of the Cannabis front and center?
All right. It's the First Church of Cannabis.
What did I say?
I don't know.
Me neither.
When 10 years ago, I got a call from a team called Meltwater, who are a statistics promotion and marketing company, and they said, hey, dude, you're trending around the world. We were written in 29 different languages, and we got a footprint of $67 million. Okay? If I would have spent $67 million, I would have had the same advertising as the news that I was in. This is TV shows, this was radio, this was newspaper. And I mean, we were written about in the Igbo language, which was a Nigerian tribe group that just started their first newspaper. You know, and they're reading the Deity Dozen. Having the Deity Dozen translated into other languages was interesting. Do not be an asshole does not translate well into Japan because it's don't be a bastard. Other countries translated it very weird. We specifically chose the word asshole because every religion, other religions have devils, they have demons, they got bad guys. An asshole to me is a bad guy. Somebody who only thinks of themselves and is selfish and is greedy. You know, who needs that kind of crap? And right now, unfortunately, there's a tidal wave of assholes in North America. It's a bit bothersome. And I can go into Congress or court or the State House and call them assholes because of it is in my religious context. I follow the Deity Dozen. We're also the only church in recorded history. We're the only religion in recorded history to embrace humor in our written doctrine. How fucking heavy is every religion takes theirselves so serious that they forgot humor. The most important thing in life is humor. You have to be able to laugh. If you didn't, we all go.